Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's training. So I am in yet another spot. I really love to move around. First, we were in my regular office. Then we moved over to the bathroom, the millennial bathroom. And now we are here in what I like to call the ARE, which is the Angel Room Extravaganza, because it's just a beautiful space. And I wish I could really show you, but yeah, it's kind of hard to do. So I'm just so excited to have you here with me, and thank you for joining me. And, your time on earth is so valuable. And so I'm honored to have you trust me as a guide right now to um, help you use it in the best way possible, not only to help others, which I know you want to do and make a difference and really impact the world as the change maker you are, but also just for yourself, for your soul, for your growth, and for just going to your next level, which is what is going to benefit every human on the planet through inspiring them. And just from you living what you already know is nagging at your heart and nagging at your soul, and almost just can't be ignored anymore, to find real fulfillment. So thank you. And today's training is really about how to not care what other people think and why that's so important to be able to really go to your next level in your career and in your business and in maybe something totally brand new in your purpose, really. So I'll be sharing today main key lessons I learned as we'll continue through my kind of personal narrative as a journey, and as an example, along with other women I've worked with and men who have done this for themselves as well, to not feel so stuck or scared, but really up level into what they're here to do and know the tools in order to feel confident and aligned and secure whenever that next level comes to them. Because, for me, I used to think okay, this is it. I used to feel like I found it. I did it. This is it. We're there. We arrived. But yet, and then I think I would convince myself, okay, and now I can feel okay. Now I can feel safe. Now I can feel relaxed. When then, of course, what happens, life throws us another wave and we have to freaking surf it or we'll tumble. So what I've learned from my journey of coming from being a full-time substitute teacher, not feeling purposeful at all, to now running my own business, helping others connect with their authenticity and really truly do what they want to serve others in the most powerful way and make decisions aligned with their intuitive power. I've learned that once you understand how to use your intuition and align with your core truth, then that is like the stake in the ground that you hold on to whatever life throws your way. Because if you have those tools and you know what that alignment feels like, and you know you're going to be okay no matter what level you jump at, but more than okay, really thrive. But while you're in the jump transitioning, you can rely on something bigger than you. It makes the world of difference, and you will become unstoppable, right? Like, we can all use support in different ways, but once you understand what fear looks like in your body, but also just how to handle that and take it to know that this fear means I'm going to my next level, and now I can sit with it. Like, when you can just sit with it and know you're going to be okay, and then use your intuition to make the best next step, you're going to start to see the bigger vision and you're going to be able to go to that next level. So all of this to say, there is no final level. There is no illusion of what I believed, which was, once I find this thing, then I'll be happy. In fact, in shamanism, which I've had the pleasure to explore in the last year and a half, that's called a daydream. And daydreams, like really beautiful fruit, like a pomegranate, as delicious as they are, will rot, and they do have an expiration date and become a nightmare. What we're really looking for here is not the daydream, which is really something outside of us that we think will make us happy. So we could replace any of these with relationship, job, purpose, okay, next levels. Instead of doing that, our real job is to find our soul path, our soul's dream. And that's what takes humility, and that's what takes grace, and that's what takes like an openness and a surrender, and yet a warrior's power to really overcome any obstacle in the way of fulfilling it. Because the truth is, you are here for more than just yourself, which I know you know, and at the same time, it can be easy to lose sight of when we get distracted or aren't feeling our true self and aren't feeling aligned. So, with all that being said, so excited to have you on the journey here. And we're going to explore exactly why being authentic and therefore not caring what others think is so important in learning those aligned way of standing in the world and being in the world, those tools. So you can really go to your next and then next and then next level forever. Okay, so I'm Colleen Coles. In case you haven't jumped in with me yet, I am a purpose alignment coach, and I like to be calling myself now an intuitive alignment coach. But basically, what that means is I'm like a spiritual guide to help you learn and know what it feels like, what it is to be aligned for you. I help you just become your most authentic self and then bring that into what you're here to do in the world. So, really, that purpose essence part so that you can make decisions with intuition and make a bigger impact. Okay, so that's what I help people do. And to recap some of the 2 other trainings we've had in this 4-part series, is in just to let you know who I am. I was a elementary education teacher straight out of college. I was told all of the time that I was so good at it. I was meant to be this, but yet there's this part of me that I felt really like stuck around, which was like, I know I'm really good at this, but is that enough? Like, do I get to feel as happy as I am making everyone else around me? Like, is that allowed? Or do I need to stay in this thing that I definitely prepared for, I definitely put a lot of time towards, and I'm skilled at? Do I get to also enjoy it, or is there something different? Is there something else calling my name? And if you're a woman, especially watching this, as we're transitioning in a spiritual, more cosmic, bigger view way from the age of Pisces, which is the fish and a lot to do with martyrdom and sacrifice, kind of that Christianity metaphor, if you will. We're going from that to the Aquarius, which is the overflow, which is the water flowing, which is more creativity and authenticity. Okay. And so, as much as we want to not care about what other people think of us, or we really want to step into something bigger, it can be hard to see it because we've been taught that martyrdom is the way. And I use that as a big metaphor here, but basically, anytime we feel everyone else is happy but us, that's really martyrdom. And that if we think we have to stay there for everyone else to be okay, that's what's not really true anymore. Okay. And it can feel so hard to let that go or imagine there is a different path. Like, I think of a really great, fun, favorite client I've had, and even though she created a massive business for herself, she noticed herself having a cap at her energy levels and her success because she only was able to go so far before feeling burnt out and then lost and back to the drawing board. Why? Because she was giving so much energy and time towards her friends and other business people she knew to help have their back and to kind of like slip under and help her graphic designer make the best thing ever, right? Just be there for everyone else and make sure every part of her business was flowing. But then she would come back and be like, I feel so lost and I feel so drained and I feel so frustrated. But when we got back into why, which I'm going to cover kind of more of the process here, in this training, how to do that. But when we looked back at why, it was mirroring 100% how she learned to not only function as a woman, but also how to feel safe and loved. Okay. So that was exactly what her mother taught her, which was really beautiful. And at the same time, obviously limiting. Okay. So we get to be in this time, the generation that is allowed to stand on the shoulders of those who went before us, because they were there for our support, and now we get to be the light. Okay, so now we get to stand on those shoulders without sinking with them, because that's not even what our foremothers wanted. They sacrificed so that that next generation could be better. So what a, not a waste, but almost like um a missed opportunity if we as that generation didn't take it, because we were trying to emulate those we loved. And in fact, that's what happens a lot when we find ourselves in patterns or places we don't like to be in. We're usually emulating something that we learned that was giving us safety and love, and we want to hold on to because we don't want to lose that connection. And so with my energy clearings, that's what I help to dissolve, so that we can both be happy, be successful, and love those who we grew up with, or even those within ourselves, like those part of ourselves. I hope this is making sense so far. Let me know in the comments if it is, or if it's resonating with you. And we'll continue here, because I think I'm going to give some of the steps today and how to kind of start to do this process for yourself. But all of this to say, when we still tap into more of the martyr energy, even if that's how we learned love, or how we learned how to be a woman and successful even, it's going to have a cap. We just can't give what we don't have forever. Some would argue ever, right? But I'm sure, I want to ask you, like, have you ever felt totally overwhelmed, overworked, and all you want to do is like frolic in the forest for a little bit and be intuitive and like help others in being intuitive, or in your next business idea? Like, the truth is, in order for you to do and go to your next level, you're going to have to be in your power. Okay, which we're going to touch on in just a second. And in order to be in your power, one of the ways that holds us back from that is being a martyr, and like showing up in a way that that like holds other people, when really you just need to hold yourself. And okay, so I think that's enough. That's the first piece of this, is letting go of this martyr energy. And now, what does that have to do with being yourself? We're only going to allow ourselves to be as authentic as we are, to the degree that we don't try to save other people. Okay, so for example, back to this example of a client I worked with. She had created this awesome business, and she was really confused and stuck, because at one point, as successful as it wasn't really totally her dream anymore. But she felt so conflicted from moving on, or seeing or creating what that next thing would be, because now people were relying on her. She was so afraid of losing that success and not knowing what else was coming. Like, why even go to that thing? That's so terrifying, right? But when you know how to read and hear your intuition, and then make those choices from that place, and rely on your connection to something higher than you, there's no fear. But part of that process is to break down those paradigms that are on top of you, that make you feel like you can't do that. Okay, so this part of that is that breaking down of those barriers and those paradigms. So again, I kind of went on a tangent, I think, but what that has to do with not caring is that you're gonna find your next level, and it's gonna come through you naturally, when you let yourself be yourself. Okay, so when you let yourself be yourself, that's when you're gonna start to find those intuitive hits that lead to the next huge thing that already made you so successful. Okay. Now, if we are caring what other people think, we're not going to allow ourselves to be our true selves, because we're going to be afraid of being judged, or we've been trained to like put it down and wear masks in order to help other people. And that's that martyr energy. Okay. So really what this comes down to is not caring what other people think, because that's in its essence codependency. And with codependency, it's also shadow work, and it's that shadow side of like the only the only bigness we're going to get to is what we think is allowed. And what we think is allowed is based off shame and pain we've undergone in childhood that would kind of cap that growth. Because all of a sudden you're so excited about something, you're yelling from the rooftops, but oh, wait, that's too loud. That's too loud as who I am. That's not professional. That's whatever. It's going to slow you down, even though your soul might want to take it bigger. Okay. So if your soul wants to take it bigger, but then you have something on top that's saying, well, I can't because I'm going to hurt them if I like really share this, that's going to cap you. Like you can only go as far as what you've accepted in yourself is okay. And so part of creating the bigness is knowing you are going to be okay. And like just letting go of where it came up that said it wasn't going to be okay. All right. So I haven't talked about this specific part of the process for probably like a year and a half. You can go to my website, at least right now, it's on there live at colleencoles.com. I was on, I think, 5 different podcasts, 2 of which were really, really big about relationship and codependency and like how that keeps us stuck specifically from living our purpose. So if you want to know more, go back to that, because I'll be authentic and say like it's been a while since I've really trained people on this. And so it's funny because it's not coming as like effortlessly to articulate as I had thought, because it's so like part of who I am now, even though I keep making sure I'm going to those next levels as well. All that to say, like, just know this is kind of why it can feel like you're ready to soar, but then it's like, oh shoot, I can't. And you can't even see the vision because your intuition is just mirroring you, where it's like, it's only safe to be this much available. And then you're like, why can't I see my full dream? It's because it's only safe to be this much available. So the more that you crack open those places that say it's only okay to do this, and you say, fuck that, I'm going to go through it, then your intuition's going to be like, cool, I'm going to show you a little bit more. Okay. Now, the other side of this is that masculine side. Okay. So we've talked about kind of this more feminine side of martyrdom. And even if you're a male, it doesn't matter because we all have those, feminine energies, or definitely had a kind of caretaker growing up. And so thinking about how you were raised is going to be really helpful. Okay. Especially even how it relates to money, which I'm sure you've probably looked at, but like to really, I know I have at this point, and it's like, okay, no, I get it, but really to see how your family thought about not just money, but also power. Like, what were the stories going on? There's like 3 pieces to this. What were the stories going on in your family in the way you grew up, from your father, from your mother, from your grandparents, from your society around you? Okay. And then what was their relationship as well to power? Mother, father, grandparents, family, siblings, society and school. Because those are all going to be affecting you. And then finally, back to this piece around the female, it's like looking at how this woman archetype in your life responded to the other energy. So I'll give you an example, okay? For me, you could have the best family life. It doesn't really matter. We've all gotten different programmings along the way of like what's okay, what's not okay, and we've mirrored people in our lives. So, for example, you got to look back at like how you were brought up, right? But this is my example. This is my part of the story, is that my parents got divorced when I was around 3, and for me as a 3-year-old, it seemed like my dad went away because then he was just not as available as before. And so for my little energetic system, that was like, oh my gosh, dad's not around anymore. And so you'd think, like, I have to focus on dad. I have to focus on getting dad's attention, which was true to an extent growing up. However, something I never realized was that when we feel a parent isn't as available, or like the love went away, or it felt like we did something to make that happen, we also then get really attached to whoever was around us. And so for me, that was my mom. Even though I got to see my dad, my mom was there like Monday through Sunday, just every day. And so it's also about looking at who we modeled from. So I, especially thinking, oh my gosh, my dad has left, I'm going to do everything my mom does so that I feel safe and I feel powerful. Okay. Now, because my mom grew up how she did and her mom grew up how she did, I was shown kind of this, you have to take care of everyone else to be okay. You need to make sure to put on a happy face. You need to make sure to look pretty and look nice. But what happens when authentically you don't really want to? That's then covering up your authenticity because you're now caring about what other people think of you. And you're not going to get those big ideas or feel even brave enough to really go out and do what you already see. And so looking back at your own programming is so helpful in this context, because then we can see where those limiting beliefs or limiting energetic ties are, so that we can actually start to clear them and actually be ourselves and actually live the life that we want to live. Because it's just not fun. As you know, it's just not fun feeling you're in a box, right? Because what happens then? You're actually not living the real experience you were here to create. Besides that, which you need to heal anyway, like which you're, living now for. Like, what I mean is that everything is okay. Like, everything is perfect. Everything is okay. Just the difference is you can make a difference in how much time you spend in each thing. And maybe for you, this is the moment. This is the chapter that you're like, enough is enough. I am ready to change. I'm ready to let out what's inside here match my outside world. Okay. And that's what I would personally call alignment. Okay. Not just integrity, but total alignment, because you're being authentic in the inside and you're letting it out on the outside. And part of this new age of where we're going is around helping people through that alignment and through us being an inspiration. But the reason we can know it here, but then not live it, is because it can feel so scary to our body, to our nervous systems, from how we grew up, because that's just not what we were shown. We were probably shown you have to kind of like sacrifice a little in order to be loved or safe. Okay. And so that's why this piece from the mother archetype, or even just a female, more energy, or maybe how you were just brought up from a mother or maybe father, we need to look at where that came from and why you keep doing it because of like that, so you can really go to your next level, because it's literally holding you back. When you think, I just want to go and frolic barefoot in the forest and then meet people and tell them how to really, invest, and I want to almost mentor business people and just do it in a totally intuitive way, you're not going to be able to do that if you keep trying to please other people and doing what you don't really want to do. Okay. Like it just won't come to you because you're not getting into alignment with it yet. Okay. But you wouldn't get into alignment with it yet because of the way you were programmed. So I hope that makes sense. Please let me know in the comments. Okay. Now, this final piece though, I'm going to take some water here. So basically, when we care what other people think, there was experiences we had that gave us shame or feelings of fear just by being who we were. And so then we learned how to cope by the people that we loved and felt safe around at that time. And especially models like moms or dads or caregivers had really strong influence, right? Which, like, you've done so much personal development, I totally understand, but this is like a new way of looking at it in a way that's like also going to help your business a lot. Because for me, when I started to really look at this and make these shifts and untie these ties or cords and energetically shift, I forexed my income. I finally was like living a lifestyle I had dreamed of for so long. So it's all relative, but like this is what's possible for you too. But more so than anything, it's you being yourself, you living the life how you want to live it, and then you letting out that dream or purpose within you that you might even not be able to imagine yet. You're doing the work you came down, the mission you are here to do. And what's more important than that, right? So important. So the final kind of piece around this is how kind of the masculine plays in, and how kind of our father. And these ways that we keep ourselves stuck or from without seeing what's next is, or not having the bravery to go for that thing that we might see, is coming from trauma, right? And trauma is anything that had us feeling like we wouldn't be okay if we felt like we would. I don't really want to go into all of it right now. It's something that I kind of specialize in, but more on an energetic plane, because yeah, wherever we feel we're blocking ourselves is going to be coming from trauma. Okay. So if I feel scared to be who I am, I learned from an experience that like it wasn't okay to be who I really was in an instant or multiple consistent instances where I either felt pain or shame, or even that I could die if I were my true self. And the feeling to our animal body, our somatics, is the feeling of like I'm going to be cast out from this tribe, whether it's our family or like our community and our kids, like on the playground kind of a thing. So I'm going to like refocus really quick. This light's very bright today. I don't know what is going on, but like starting my period, I'm like, okay. So let me refocus for a second. There's like, okay, I know you've done so much personal development work, and yet I think it's just important we get on the same page. So trauma is a part of it, okay? And now we're gonna move into the other piece, not the martyrdom, but the power part, okay? So here we go. I was like trying to explain it, but then I was like, we just gotta fucking move. Like they got purposes to live. Like we gotta go. And so if you have any questions on trauma or how that plays a part, like just let me know, okay? Just like put it in the comments. Okay, so from this father figure or the masculine, okay, it's super helpful from, if you journaled even earlier when you were watching this video or now, get clear on like, what is your relationship to power? Who did you see emulate power growing up? And what figure was it? What did it look like? So here's the dealio. For me, I can say that I realized like I was holding myself back and just emulating basically what my mom showed me to be successful, to be loved. That for me, it was more of that martyr and also kind of controlling helicopter-y kind of energy. That's what I was emulating. But why was I not taking my life to the next level? Why was I not showing my powerful self? And for me, I realized it's because of the way I saw my father. Okay. Now I really wanted the love of my father. Another great journal prompt to just get clarity around all of this is, whose love did I crave the most? Right. And then whose love did I emulate or have the most of? Because that is going to be who you mostly emulate. So for me, the love that I craved the most was my dad's love. And it was just because he wasn't around as much. And so if I have this longing to connect with my father, I'm not going to do anything that is stepping on his toes energetically, if you will. And my dad is this very charismatic Irish guy. He was a defense lawyer, like big energy. And so he also could get angry a lot. And so if I'm here trying to get his love, trying to be authentic, trying to grow, and I hit a cap of like speaking up or doing something out there and I'm really expanding, then he would maybe get mad or tell me to not interrupt, or energetically his being is going to be like, you're out of place because I'm the one with the power. Like energetically, he would be in there. So all of this to say, for me at least, like use me as a model here, I found that it wasn't safe to be powerful. Like that's what got ingrained in me, because my dad was such a big charismatic presence and powerful presence that if I started to get too powerful, as a little kid even and like yell or scream or whatever, it's too much in his place. So he would come and be like, no, right? And so that's only teaching me, even if he didn't say no to me, like energetically in the space, there's only so much room, right? And so he wouldn't even have to even say anything. It's like, what is he available for? And he would maybe talk louder or talk over me. Okay. So it's not always such covert or overt kind of situations. It's more like energetically what was in the space. And that's why I help people with this, because I can see it and see those patterns and relate to energetics really well. And also then, of course, see, part of my gift is to be able to see where these blocks are in you and where they came from, and then what we just need to do to massage it out. It's pretty profound and transformative. So instead of talk therapy, which goes just with the stories up here, we look at the energetics, which is in your cells, and then I have the ability to see that, and then we can see what needs to happen in order to create balance. So anyway, so if you have the power to do the work, then I can help you kind of get there through energetically seeing what is not in balance and where it's coming from, and then we clear it, and then you're like a rocket ship, just ready to pop off, because you know I'm in the right place and I know what I need to move forward. So all this to say too, if you haven't watched some of the others, I have a really awesome savings right now for my one-on-one coaching if you're ready to go take off. Okay. So you can go to my website right now and score some amazing savings, thousands of dollars, if especially you book a call to talk by this Friday. Okay. So just want to see that in there, because if you're listening to this and be like, I don't even know how I would do that, I want to be able to say, like, I can help you. Like, you don't have to do this alone. That's part of my service that I offer, is to be able to see that energetic, so you can just untangle it and just go see what you need and feel free to be yourself. Okay. So I hope that this is resonating with you. But basically, if there was a parent or maybe a group of kids on the playground that showed their power over you, especially with trauma, like that's when we feel powerless and unable to change. But even without trauma, if there was anybody that had more of that upper hand, it's going to feel unsafe in our body now to be able to actually go reach our potential power. Okay. So I just uncovered, honestly, a new layer of that recently. And so I'm so excited to see where this goes, because in my past, when I realized this, I was making huge strides in my life, in my business, having boundary, which is a very aligned, powerful masculine energy. And just everything started to really click, even though other people weren't happy about it. That was okay, because I realized, like, that's not my responsibility to make sure they're okay. It was my response, which might be even triggering for you. It's definitely different from that older martyr type of way of looking at it, right? But it's interesting, because once we can realize, like, our job isn't to take care of everybody in that way that then sacrifices ourselves, that's that martyrdom, we can start to feel free. We can start to see more of our clarity. And then the next step is to take action on it, right? To be motivated to take action. And that's where that masculine power comes in. So when we get clarity on what that masculine energy was for us and why it might feel blocked, by journaling out, where did it come from? What did my dad look like? What was allowed in the space from me? What did power look like? And even how did my other parent kind of respond to it, right? So if your dad would get angry like mine did, or be super big and charismatic, and you saw that your mom kind of ran away and you're attached with your mom, do you see? That's why you're going to run away, even from being able to, when you have the opportunities to express your power. And when you're stepping up into your next level, you're definitely going to be expressing your power. So that's when it, like, we kind of get into these sabotages of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't see what I need to do. I don't know what it looks like. I'm not going to take action, etc. So when we get clear on that power piece, and our relationship to it, and our relationship to that masculine energy, that's when we can go and really not care what others think, because we're going to be in our purpose and we're going to be taking action from that. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. Trauma, or when we've felt pain and shame, can keep us blocked and keep us stuck. They come from our programming and from our experiences as children. When we get clarity on that and awareness, that's when we can start to open up, because we realize this isn't even me, right? Like, and I want something differently. And then when we hit those levels of like, oof, this is okay, but this isn't, we can start to understand why and consciously bring it to light and say, I'm ready for something more than that. So for example, if I'm getting up here right now and doing this video with you, but I thought I'm not allowed to like be in my power and just show up as me because it wasn't safe to do that, like with my dad or whoever. And I was responding to this moment as if I were still a child and like somebody outside of me is an authority. How would I be able to do this right now? Right? Like, how would I be able to show up? And then what happens when we don't show up? We don't live our purpose and we don't go to the next level. So, what I want to do kind of in closing here is just again remind you to like ask yourself or journal these things out of like, here's some really awesome questions. What power were you not allowed to express? Okay, what power were you not allowed to express? And what was modeled to you as a way of how to respond? Okay, again, these all relate to even how we relate to money, but specifically like who we are in our presence. This is how it relates. So, the result of doing this and having the clarity and then energetically untying those knots of like power equals being yelled at, or like love equals laying back and being a doormat. It's going to be really hard to move up, right? We've talked about this. Once you can energetically unblock and unknot those things, you're going to start to get the clarity and all of that in like be your authentic self and hear your intuition, right? And that's what helps you take you to your next level. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. Let me think of a story really quickly of somebody who I worked with. I had a client who when we first met, she just had such a hard time even speaking to me. And we could tell like we really resonated. It was like, this is fun. And like, I kept showing up in her feed at the exact right moments. Like my name kept coming around. And like when I would share, it was like something she really needed to hear. So she's like, I think that I need to work with you. I'm just not sure how. She was kind of afraid to invest in helping because she had gotten into a lot of debt. And she was also in a relationship with somebody who was the father of her child. So it was a really important relationship, but he was kind of manipulative and like it wasn't the most ideal scenario. We started to do this work together. And what was so interesting is that she said to me, she said, I had the best childhood. I had the best parents like you could ever ask for. It's like, okay, well, let's see what your body says, because something is still stopping you. Because her main problems were, I have a side hustle, I'm not speaking about it. I even feel afraid to fully express who I am. And even talking to you, I can get scared and I don't even know why. It's like silly. And her job wasn't like totally great either. So she wanted to take it all to her next levels: relationship, side hustle, business, and her kind of career. And that would only help relationships with like her child and stuff. So anyway, we were starting to do this energetic work and these energetic clearings, and she started to like really let go. And we could see the memories of like, even though her dad was amazing one time and then multiple with this same type of pattern, he came home from work, she was coloring on the floor, he stepped on one of her crayons and he got mad, he got angry. But for that tiny 6-year-old, she took it in as if, oh my God, I made my dad upset when I'm creative. Do you see how like energetically as that child, she put that on her? And so anytime she's going to try to be creative, she's hitting that wall of, oh my God, I'm going to get yelled at by the person who I feel safe by and protected by and loved by. So I can't do that. And for her, as that 30-something-year-old, that meant anytime writing to new people and saying, hey, check this out, it felt like creativity and therefore unsafe. Okay. So with my energetic clearings, we started to unwrap that and clear it out and bring it like total peace and harmony, like literally harmony, integrity, alignment, so that she could become who more and more she was. Now, here's as we kept going through this journey of doing those clearings, seeing where it was coming from, unblocking it, expanding it out. She started to really like step by step take bigger actions in her side hustle. She started to realize for her what was an aligned and not aligned way of being in that relationship and decided to cut it with that relationship. And then when she started to date, really see like, you know, am I being authentic? Am I just doing this for love? But she started to really get in her power. And by the end of us working together, of continually doing these clearings, and at one point I was seeing her as like a goddess, literally as a goddess, and Artemis, like it was amazing. She got offered a new job that took out all of the politics she didn't even like and doubled her salary, which then she was able to circle back around and pay for the debt that she was even afraid of letting go of when we first signed up. So not only that shifted, but which is obviously humongo and huge and life-changing, but she was able to stand firmly in her 2 feet around her power as a new model for her daughter, rather than what was modeled for her, because her mother didn't really speak up to her father when that stuff would happen. And it was simple stuff, but that's why we all have these little ties and need to do unblocking around it. But she also was able to stay fully in her power and alignment when she started dating people, not giving anything away, having really great communication with her, the father of her child, and her business, her side hustle was just starting to take off. Like she was like, oh yeah, I have like these 3 events lined up, when it had taken her like a whole 6 months or a year to do one. So it was like a week she was getting ready. And now it's like she's getting to new levels in that side hustle company. Like so many huge shifts that are almost like, I'm grateful that this client has so many freaking tangible ones that are so massive, because then it's like what really is happening is cellular shifts in the way she shows up to her life. And that's the presence, and that's where we're all trying to get to. So all of that to say, I would love to help you do the same. Again, I have a sale right now going on in my business because we all need each other and we all need ourselves to go to that next level, right? We don't know how much time we have left, and like the world needs us, right? And like, woo, I don't know about you, but I felt like I would die inside if I just kept like squandering away my time. And so the only way to get around that is to not settle anymore and to do those untanglements so that you can really express yourself in the best way. So if that's what you want to do or you're ready for it, I want you to go to my website right now and click the link below to sign up with a call with me, okay? So that you can start to unblock these links as well, okay? Right now, again, you can save thousands, and so click the link so that you can hop on this ASAP. Obviously, there's limited slots available, and no matter what, there's different ways that we can work together if this doesn't feel like the right fit, but that's something we can explore, even if you're gonna be a right fit for me, because I need to make sure my energy's clear and I'm only working with total soulmate people, which I'm hoping you are. But yeah, there's other ways to work together as well, but this program I have called the Alignment to Your Next Level is on sale now for a very limited time and for limited slots. So I hope to see you soon, because again, you have a massive purpose to live and something's dying in you. And that's that piece of you that wants the freedom and the expression to be yourself. This stuff is what's in the way. Okay, so it might seem unrelated. It's 100% related. And I'll stop it here. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments, what was your major aha moment from today's training? What was your main takeaway? Do you feel like it's more of your mom's energy and example that kind of stops you, or more of that dad energy and like overpowering that kind of gets in your way? Like, which one more do you think is influencing right now your life? So I will see you. We have one more training coming up. It's the final shebang here in the live stream extravaganza. And can't wait to see you there. If you're not registered for these and to get the schedule, then I'm gonna put the link right here as well, so that you can sign up and know when I'm doing that 4th final video training, okay? It's gonna be all about how to find your intuitive superpower to go to your next level, okay? It's everything. All right, See you soon and talk to you later. Bye-bye.